All right, welcome to this first episode of this podcast of Linguine League. I'm Phase 4 Eyes, or also known as Royce, and I'm joined here by 3 other people, so I'll let them go around and introduce themselves.
PG, you want to start?
Yeah, hi, I'm PG.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm the captain for Utah, I guess.
Peyton?
I am the Big Peyton, and I am the 120 salary for MCV.
And I'm Matt Milley, and I am Pitt's LO captain. So, hi.
All right, so there we go. We might have these guys back on for episode 2. We're trying to make this like a weekly thing. That's my goal, is just like to do one episode a week. But let's start with the first topic. What is Linguine League, and what is, United Rocket League?
I think it's fair for the demo man himself to explain how this league works.
So I'm the demo man, the Big Peyton.
Yeah.
Linguine is anything and everything that can happen will happen. What's that called? Murphy's Law?
Yeah, if it's going to happen, if it can happen, it will happen, yeah.
You could have the best players on the team and they could still lose. It just swings both ways. There's never consistency. That's Linguine. See.
If you're in my case, dude, you're the best player on the team and you get the lowest on the scoreboard every time.
So you're consistently sucking.
I'm the best at sucking.
You're the best at tanking for the team.
Correct. And then from my point of view, I just get to watch from the outside because I'm the lowest style on my team, so I could just get to watch the other guys do all the stuff, and then I get blamed for all the wrong when I get in.
And what is United Rocket League as a whole?
A community.
Well, no shit. Well,
yeah, it's
what
a community that I don't know. It's a community that plays Rocket League, dude.
And there's like 5. Isn't there like 5 different levels? It goes like what? Linguine, fettuccine, macaroni, noodle cup, ramen bowl.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly
With
right.
Linguine being the lowest level, like diamonds and low champs, and then what? And then ramen bowl is like SSLs, right?
Yeah, that's those are the pros. There was they used to call it a different thing, and they actually had where there was actually I can't remember the name they used to call it. But they used to call the ramen a different thing. They actually not play for money, but play for like bragging rights against other people. And
Now
then
they
that's
play
what
for money?
started straight into other leagues. Not anymore, no.
Okay. All right. Well, let's transition into our next topic. We're going to be talking about the standings. So, yeah. So at the top, we have the Pittsburgh Phantoms at 9-2. But it's a 3-way tie with the San Diego Armada and then Mexico City Venom. All 9-2. But based on points, Pittsburgh is at 38 points. So.
Correct, and that's only because of luck. The other two guys here, I mean, I think Utah is up there with us when it comes to the top teams, because between MCV and SDA, and Pitt, I don't want to burst our own horn, but all of us are all good shooters and a good put on goal and good defensive teams, and there's so many of those on the playoff run. I mean, Utah is one of them. Baltimore, that's another team that's going for another run. Like the playoff run coming here in the last week or two is insane, watching it all unfold.
Yeah, so based on the standings, I don't know if you guys have the standings pulled up on your end, but what kind of stands out to you with the standings? Like, let's kind of break it down. What teams do you think are like, okay, it's expected that they're in these standings, or what teams do you think could be better or should be worse?
I think Jersey is one that I think is always contenders and always will be contenders, and so I'm not surprised that they're in it. Correct. Well, I'm not surprised that they're in. I'm just surprised they're that low.
Me too. Jersey was the strongest team that I felt going into this season.
I would have picked them number 1.
Me personally, honestly, for New York right now, I obviously got to commentate a couple New York matches. And honestly, looking at their chemistry, it was, shaky. No offense to you, Misfit. No offense to you if you listen to this.
Swizzy?
Yeah,
Swizzy?
Misfit.
Oh my god.
Yeah, no offense.
He's good.
he's the best on the team, and I'm pretty sure he's one of the best in Linguine as a whole. But
Oh,
no offense to New York. Do I think they should be better? No. From what I've seen, I honestly think that they should be lower in the standings. No offense to anybody on the New York Insomnia, and I appreciate the opportunity they gave me. But just based on like what I've seen as a team.
They have 3 good players. Yeah, they have 3 good players.
Just
that
the
does not mean
chemistry.
they have a good team.
The chemistry is like bouncing all over the place, and it's just like I just don't see them. How do I put this? I just don't see them being up there. Like, am I shocked that they're basically like just in the hunt just a little bit? No, I'm not shocked. But just like with the chemistry and stuff, I'm honestly surprised that they're in 10th. I feel like they'd be in like the bottom tier of LL.
honestly, I was surprised that they were that low. I remember talking with my GM in the beginning of the season. We were talking about like top teams and everything like that, and we all picked New York, Jersey, and it's gonna be a weird one, but we also picked San Diego, and it blows my mind how the season put out, especially if it's some of the teams that play as hard as they do, like Ottawa and Santa Fe, like those teams, like they still took us. Yeah, they took us to game 5 still, and like it.
Do you think
it just
Ottawa
blows my
deserves
mind.
to be in that bottom row?
No, I don't. They have 2 great players in Zam and 3D Sam. Yeah, their captain Super Strikes or whatever. I'm not really sure what happened with him, but I think they had a lot of forfeits.
Mm-hmm.
And the matches that they did play, they took us to game 5 too. Like, they're a good team. It was just unfortunate, I think, what happened with them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for sure. And this will kind of transition in towards our next segment in a way, still branching out. But what are some teams to look out for? Like, if you're a brand new like fan, or if you're just like getting into the scene of LL, what's like a couple teams to look out for, and what are some teams that like you should not be concerned about? I mean,
that's better. That's a better question for you. You've been in here longer than us.
Yeah.
I mean, for right now, obviously the top 3, Pitt, San Diego, and Mexico City. The ones that are kind of like in the hunt, I'd probably say Houston. They got.
So they're like a dark horse to look out for.
Piggy Buggy is the demo, the
Oh my
powerhouse of Houston. They will demo you a lot. Although surprisingly, they didn't demo us that much when we played them, but
Must be nice.
I think they have.
Yeah.
I think Piggy Buggy has the most demos right now. But there's another one. I think it was Chicago. Who's Yoshi? And
Yeah, that's Chicago.
Yeah.
And in Chicago, yeah, they got Yoshi and Wild Banana. Those 2 are pretty good.
Yeah, they picked up 5, and no offense to Spirley or whatever his name is, but 5
Spirally?
is definitely an upgrade. Yeah.
Is there like a team that you don't think deserves to be in the top 8?
To be honest, San Diego.
Yeah,
I don't
San Diego had a lot of forfeits, dude. They almost got a forfeit from us. They're just like
2
magnetized,
forfeit
dude. We played San Diego. They beat us 3-1, and they were close games. Like, and we our other 115 Buck, Buck Faith.
Buck, yeah.
But Buck was supposed to play and ended up sleeping through the match, and our low Sal got on 2 minutes before we were supposed to play. So that was kind of scuffed, and we still kept it close. So they're a good team, yeah, but they might have struggled a bit more throughout the season.
For me, the biggest quote unquote dark horse team I could see is Utah. Now, obviously, I've only seen 2 Utah series. When I got to commentate that Philly game the other day, yesterday, but just for me, Utah is a strong team. Now, I'm not going to go out and say Philly is awful. I mean, did they have tough? Because yes, did they have to play 2 back-to-back series versus Carolina than Utah? Yeah, they had a 15-minute break in between both series, so they didn't really have time to prepare or get locked in compared to other teams, for example, that have a couple days to get some scrims in, get some VOD review, whatever it may be. They straight up had to hop right into it, so they had to either double prepare or whatever it may be, and instead of the other teams, for Fiji, I know you're on Utah. If I'm correct, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you guys, what? Your guys' previous game was like 2 days before that or something?
Nah, that was our first game of the week.
First game, so yeah, you guys still have plenty of time to like prepare. Well, for example, obviously, just Philadelphia, they didn't have time. So for Utah, I mean, sure, they're a strong team. They 3-0'd Philly, but honestly, I could have seen that series going to 5.
Yeah, they like I said after the match, like they rebuilt their team, I think like the week of the lock or whatever, or the week before. So they're still trying to find their grounding and build chemistry and stuff. So I mean, like, it was close. They introduced a new player that series too. That wispy dude didn't play against Carolina, so I assume they didn't have a player warmed up that series either. So I don't know. I think they'll be good if they play together more.
I just want to go on a high horse and tell Utah that even though where they're at standing right now, I still think they're going to win it because they still beat Pitt in the preseason and in the regular season.
Yeah.
So that kind of makes them number one if I just want to say something.
Now to point out
people. Oh, sorry, we mess people up in scrims too. I just want to point that out too.
You guys are just scrim merchants.
Yeah, when it comes, dude, comp, like warming up, comp, scrims, like we dominate, but like going into league matches, I don't know what's wrong.
It's like everything's going. It's like you guys are doing well, and then you guys just hit the bed, right? When you guys fucking, hit the league matches, like, jeez. All right, now let's move on to our next segment. Let's talk about the MVP race. I'm not familiar with any players, but if you guys had to choose 3 standout players that you guys think deserve a quote-unquote MVP on the season so far, who do you guys give that to? We'll go in order, so we'll start with you, Fiji. From what you've seen from the matches you've seen and you've competed in, what would be your top 3?
Probably Boofy, Peyton, and man, like I don't know who I'd choose for that 3rd spot though.
And what teams do they play on?
Boofy is on Pittsburgh and Peyton is on MCV. Like,
I would honestly, maybe. I'd have to add on you. I'd have to say Misfit.
Yeah, I could see that. I think it's between him or Yoshi, in my opinion.
All right, now moving on to you, whatever your name is, the M guy.
Honestly, like the first one, I'm gonna have to go on a limb here, and I'm so sorry, Boofy. It's gonna be Dom. I think Dom has played an outstanding season. He plays for SDA. He's their 120, and I'm kind of kicking myself because I had a chance to get him, and I lost him to our rival SDA. People don't think that they're a rival. I take him as a rival team just because of Berkey.
Yeah.
The second person is going to be the number 1 shooter, and that's going to be Boofy, or as we call him, Goat Milk.
Goat Milk, yep.
And then the third one, it's going to have to be Peyton, just because of his development that he's had from season to season to season, and he's an all-around person that you can put in any team, and he plays for MCV. He's just an adaptable player, and I think that right there makes him the most valuable player when it comes to being on a team.
Yeah, 1000%. And for you, Peyton, your top 3.
Seems there's a common theme. I'm gonna have to go with Boofy, only because he's got the most goals right now.
Yup.
I think he's sitting at like 50, I think. But second, I'd probably put... I'd have to put our other 120, Frosty. He's our other 120.
Ooh, Frosty, okay.
He's played half the games, and he has more goals than I do. He's just a I don't know what you... He's a shooter. He's kind of like a Boofy, but he just has like half the games.
Yeah, for sure.
So I could only imagine if he played every game.
Oh, that's fair. I didn't see the games played.
I don't know.
Just to kind of go...
I don't want to put myself on there.
Yeah.
Only because I'm second in demos, but I'm also like top 10 in goals. So I don't know.
Yeah.
You're 11.
Or 11? Damn, I'm outside
Yeah.
the top 10. That sucks.
Buck passed you. If we had a better record, I'd say Buck, but
I'll probably just put Backwoods back up there. He's always been a solid player.
Mhm.
So
Just to
I
kind
agree.
of sidestep, from the MVP conversation, just as I was looking at the games, Baltimore, right? Hold on, ready? Baltimore, who is 5-6, beat Pittsburgh this week. Well, I want to talk about that. I mean, yeah, obviously this is, we're just kind of experimenting, so it's not like, I have a strict schedule. But you know what? It's just something I noticed, and I kind of want to, talk about that.
It was actually probably the hardest loss we had to take, only because our other teammate that we have, Milk, going that far into the season, he's been undefeated because the only game we lost was to Utah, and that was with our other team combo. So we were going through the season, these last 6 games, we were playing Milk every single game, trying to keep his undefeated streak going. And once we got to Baltimore, they outshot us, and we couldn't keep up with them. They outsped us, and they had better team that day.
and another thing to mention, Seattle, who's 4-6, would have been 4-5 at the time, brought Pittsburgh to a game 5.
Put us up, yes. Actually made us where we had to sub out one of our players because our player just couldn't adapt to what was going on. So like that's not the first time either that's happened. There's multiple teams that take us to game 5. I think we're lucky to be where we're at right now.
Game 5 Merchants.
Correct.
How many game 5s does it have?
I would have to check, but just this week. Let's actually look.
1, 2, 3,
yeah.
4, 5. We have 5. So
Jeez.
And
So
what?
11 out
And
of 12 games.
how many? What's the record wins to loss ratio on the game 5s? What it would
2
be?
out
What?
of 3, or 3 out of 5 we win. So
3-2 in the game 5s.
yeah.
That's scary because that means that basically is just saying if a lower team in the record wise brings you to a game 5, it's basically anybody's game.
Correct. And that's how LL is. Any day, as long as someone can bring it and come together, and that, because like the funny part is throughout our season, it hasn't been one specific player that's playing well throughout the thing. It's always been like every series there's been someone that's outshined and taken the team on their back. For example, like the Seattle game was all Boofy. The Baltimore game, unfortunately I was the MVP, but if we all were all firing on all cylinders, we would have won. But
yeah, but let's all pull up on the Linguine on the United Rogue Rocket League server. Let's pull up the week 6 results, and honestly, this is our next segment. We're gonna be going into week 6 breakdown. And essentially, we're just gonna break down some of the matches. We're gonna I'll ask a question about week 6, and you guys will just provide answers. So, out of week 6, does everyone have the schedule pulled up? The results?
Yep.
All right, perfect. We'll go with what is the biggest shock to you from week 6 so far? There's only one series that hasn't been played. That's SFK versus Seattle.
It has been played. It just hasn't been reported. It was a sweep on Seattle's end.
So, what's your guys' biggest shock? What are you guys shocked? Like the number. If you had to choose one game that was like, damn, I didn't expect that. What would you choose? I'll go first. Mine was definitely Baltimore beating Pittsburgh. That has to be mine.
That would be mine. We weren't expecting it.
Did Pitt play Ottawa?
Not this week. No, they played Baltimore and then they played Seattle.
Correct. I guess another one for me would actually be Baltimore and Ottawa.
Okay,
Because
why do you
Baltimore
say that?
Because Baltimore beat us, but then also had to take the game 5 to Ott, and that just proves how good Ottawa is also.
Even being on the bottom of the standings, yeah. All right,
Correct.
Fiji, what about you?
Honestly, I don't know, dude. I don't want to sit here and say the same thing as everybody else.
I mean,
but
you can.
one thing is Seattle sweeping SFK. I stand by SFK. Their record does not show how aggressive they are and how good they are. They took us to Game 5 and we won 3-2.
SF is what? Santa Fe?
Yeah, Santa Fe. Like, so I mean, like, I felt like SFK was the better team over Seattle, so I'm surprised at that.
Now, what game would you have to say was expected? Like, what game out of all these would you say, okay, yeah, I expected that? I would say Jersey 3 over Atlanta. That's just kind of me. I know it was like a close game. Like, you have 5 and 6, 4 and 7, but as I said, for me personally, is that
SDA and Utah.
All the 3-1. Okay.
Because I think honestly, I think Utah should have won it.
Yeah,
Well, no.
he said,
No.
which one do you think should?
Like which match did you expect? You're just like, okay, I expected that team to win.
Misread that.
Yeah, I was about to slap you through that screen.
I still think you're right. SDA over Utah. I mean, that's kind of expected.
I
Number
disagree
2
with
seed.
that, Peyton. You suck.
Second
Like,
seed versus 9th seed. I think that's expected.
yeah, but
All right,
I
now,
think if we had Buck, it would have been different. That's all I'm gonna say.
okay. I mean, that's a solid pick. I've seen Buck play. He's great. All right, now for our next segment, let's talk about the midseason tournament.
I didn't play in that, so I have no idea. I just know there was a lot of drama.
What happened?
No,
Where's the bracket and all that?
I did play in that, and I caused the drama. So
Wait, what happened? What's the drama? Give us the drama.
Rundown.
Okay, so the reason that there's no bracket is because only 4 teams signed up. It was me, Boofy, and Chef, and our first match was against Melander from Dallas, Ock from Carolina, and Wafirium from Carolina. And dude, that was rough because we played against their all 3 of them, beat them, played against them in 2s, and I think we lost that by 1 because of a miss on Boofy's part. And then a 1v1 with Chef and Melander, and then they subbed out Wafirium and brought in a completely different player, which like fucked us up, or sorry, messed us up. And yeah,
So it wasn't even any of the 3 players.
yeah, so Alegi scheduled a match at the same time the tournament started. So he so 40 minutes into it, Alegi joins our thing. We play the last match or whatever, and then Dom and Cyber come in there and they're like, "Hey, are y'all done yet?" And Boofy's like, "We just started. Hold on." And he meant like we just started game 5 or whatever, and Dom was like, "Y'all just started?" And I was like, "Yeah, my bad, dude. I thought it was supposed to start at 9 CST, not EST." And I was just messing with him. So that's where all the drama came from, was just me messing with people.
All right. Now, playoff contention teams. I mean, hey, it's obvious, but as I said, this is LL. And as you guys did, this is LL. Anything can happen. So, based on, like, obviously, sins, but just based on personal, what are the playoff contention teams? What teams do you see obviously qualifying just right now, and what teams do you see like that could qualify within the next couple weeks? I'll go first. I'm gonna go ahead, obviously, say Pittsburgh. That's the safe answer. They're number 1, so that's kind of the safe answer. But I'm gonna come out on a limb. I'm gonna say Houston. I honestly see Houston making a deep playoff run.
What do you think, Peyton?
As far as like going into the championship, like semis and championship,
Going into playoffs, yeah.
Shit. Pitt, SDA, MCV. That 4th one is gonna be tricky. I'm gonna have to say.
I say Houston,
I
as
don't know.
obviously I
We'll go
stated.
I was gonna think Houston, but I think it might be Carolina.
Okay. Ooh, that's actually a bold pick out of you.
because I think Carolina has.
That's who I was gonna pick.
And him only being a 105, I think he's their captain.
But let's talk about this. Dallas is only up by 1 point over Carolina, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's kind of up in the air for that.
Yeah, Commander Melander, he's actually pretty good.
Yeah, I got to
I think he's actually
I got to
built a pretty
commentate
well-rounded
the
team.
ones tournament for him. He was great. Is there
I think Utah is gonna make it in.
Utah? Okay, so
Yep.
that would be your team. That would be your dark horse team to make it in.
Correct. My wild card that would come in at the end.
Do you think
I think-
Atlanta or Baltimore could squeak in?
I think yes. I think it's going to be the last game of the season, and I feel like they're going to have it streamed, and everyone's going to be tuned in for it because it's going to be it. Put
Okay.
the pressure on PG.
Yeah. What about Philly? Do
Don't
you see
put
Philly
pressure on
possibly
me.
making it?
No.
Not after their back-to-back 3-0 sweeps.
I think if the person who's going to take 8th seed,
I could see Baltimore. Honestly, I see Baltimore for sure.
it would definitely have to be Utah. They're they're 2 points ahead of New York in 10th. And
But
they're
what?
only 2
That'd be a
points
wild card right
behind
there. Is New York.
Chicago.
Look, so our next week coming up, we actually have to play Jersey and New York.
Same.
So if
You
we
can-
beat them, that's basically like sealing their ticket.
But it'd be a shame if Pitt lost to them.
If Pitt loses to them, I would. Oh man, I would be pissing myself.
Because we played them too.
I'm not gonna say
it's gonna go to
I'm not
another
gonna
game
say It's
5.
not gonna be hard
Nah.
fought, but
Yeah.
I think making a deep playoff run. I think Pittsburgh, MCV. If Jersey is in playoffs, I think they get it together, dude. I think they make a deep run, and I could see Chicago doing it too.
Okay, so what team would you say, out of all the teams, what team do you think would most likely sell? Like they would have an opportunity to make playoffs if they just sell it.
I'm sorry, my
make playoffs
goats.
and
I'm sorry, my goats. Pittsburgh.
You could see Pittsburgh selling the playoffs in like the first round.
I
or whatever.
could. I could.
Honestly,
I would
honestly,
see Mexico. I'm gonna say MCV. I know it's a bold pick, but I've seen one series. I
That is
forgot what it
very
was.
bold.
I know
That's
it's a bold
very
pick.
bold pick. Out of every team that we've played, Mexico City has been the strongest. Like
From the one
that-
game I saw, they were not on par. I think maybe they didn't have their whole starting roster. It was in one of their
Yeah.
losses, but they did not play on par from what I saw. And I was like,
yeah,
I was
that's 'cause
like,
that Peyton
sure,
guy
they're up there.
sucks.
If it was one of the losses, it was against Dallas. And
Mhm.
That was our second game of the season, and it was with our 100.
I wasn't with Frosty.
So it wasn't even with our best lineup. But luckily, moving forward, we only had 2 game 5s, and it was
Knock on
both
something.
with
Knock
our
on
100.
something.
They were both wins, but they were also with our 100. Every other game, it's either been a shutout or we won in game 4.
Unfortunately, I don't want to talk smack to BG or nothing, but I feel like it's going to be the first round, and it's going to be Utah and Pitt, and I feel like we're going to get the upper
Oh,
hand on
for
them this
sure,
time.
dude. If y'all play
because
us, yeah, I
They,
called
they,
that. I called
got
that
the-
after the second week, dude.
correct. They got us game 5 in the preseason tournament, and then got us game 5 in the season. So I feel like it's only fair. It's only a Cinderella story for
yeah,
Utah to make it into the playoffs, and then face Pitt, make it to game 5. and then
Cinderella didn't forget her glass slipper this time.
Yeah, I'm big into conspiracies or like what superstitions or whatever. I'm not big into them, but one that I do believe in is the 2. Whoever wins the first straight 2 is losing the third, dude, and that's on Jaw.
All
Isn't
right,
that from
now,
Rocky or something?
now this is where we're gonna
It's-
kind of get spicy. This is where we're gonna cause some drama on the podcast.
Ooh.
What teams need to make changes if they even want to have a shot? Like, is there a team, would you
Jersey.
say, that needs to make a change if they want to have a chance to make playoffs, or do you think all the rosters should stay the same?
Oh, that's a good question.
I don't know. I want to say Jersey only because they're 5 and 6. They are not where they normally should be. And just from the game we played with them, I think it was their 100 or 105 T-Mac. Yeah, 105 T-Mac. He just did not fit in with Backwoods and Ethics, and those two are pretty much goated. So it doesn't see. It's weird because T-Mac does have more bells than Ethics, but I just don't see. I don't know. I think because I originally the previous question I thought was Jersey was gonna be the one if they do make it to the playoffs, they're gonna be the one to flop.
I feel like New York, to be honest with you. Like we all agreed on, they're great players. I just feel like they don't have good chemistry. So if they could find who the problem is with their rotations or their game style or whatever, and if they could replace them, then I think they'd be a stronger team.
Yeah, I agree with you on that one. Since I commentated like 4 or 5 New York Insomnia matches, so I agree with you heavily on that one. Because I feel like,
to be honest with you, I could tell you their problem and who it is, but
you don't want to cause even more drama. Tell it. Why not? Spill it out, man. This is why we have the podcast.
So I think their problem is the postman, and it's not necessarily that he's bad or bad with them. He's got the same problem that I do, where he gets in his head a lot. So he very could be the best player on that team, but he goes into that match with a bad mindset, just like I do. I think he gets nervous in league games. So I think that's kind of what's weighing him down, and I really think that's what's weighing us down. If they could get rid of me, they'd be a lot better off.
Yeah, I'm gonna touch on New York as well. I'm gonna say that honestly, I wouldn't say this is like a bold pick, but I would say that they should probably try and build around Misfit. That's my pick, because I'm not gonna go out there and say, I don't know. Is he like one of the best players in LL if I stand corrected, right?
I think you'd be hard pressed to label one person.
But I would say on the roster, he's probably he's the best player on the roster. So I feel like they would need to build around him. Honestly, can they still make playoffs? It's likely. I mean, obviously they're 2 points behind Utah right now. And if New York want to have a shot at making playoffs, I would say build around Misfit or Swaggy. Build around him. People that he has good chemistry with, or even if you maybe don't have the best chemistry, something that fits his play style, because from seeing his play style, he's kind of all over the place. Is he mechy? Sure, he has some moments where he's mechy, but other times how do I put this? He goes around his teammates. He plays around his teammates, so he's all around. He can be aggressive, but he can also be conservative when he needs to be, depending on the team, depending on the situation, depending on the opposition. He's like a two-way player, if you will. So I feel like if they can build around him, I feel like New York could be a very dangerous squad heading into playoffs if they're able to secure that spot.
I mean, to be fair, they did build the team. He's the captain, so he built that team.
He's no longer the captain.
Oh, you still built that team around him.
Well, yeah, I talked to him, and he said that he stepped down as captain.
But yeah, he is probably one of the strongest players. I would just agree.
But if they could find actual good salary players that go around his play style, I would see New York as being a top contender.
Agreed. I remember the early talks, like I was saying earlier, New York was always because every time we scrimmed them, they were always putting something out. And so we always thought they were going to be at least up there, top 3 with us.
Yeah, sure. Do you think Pittsburgh needs to make a change?
It's too late for that.
Yeah, I think they need to make a change.
I think.
Get rid of their 110.
Yeah, they need to get rid of that cyber guy.
I said we got 2 of them. I think. And he's a great player. I love him to death. He's a great kid. I think when building a team, luckily being the lower Sal guy, it was easier to try to build a team around. I don't want to boost my ego, but build around myself. And building players who are good at passing and good at shooting, and not directly just being a good overall player. And that's a lot of the reasons why I picked the team that I did, and I believe in the team that we have. I think making a change would just ruin the chemistry that we have. I think we built enough to keep on rolling into the season and finish out strong. because I think we've all gotten to the point now that we understand where our limits are, and we've actually utilized the sub throughout the season to use it when someone's not at their top A game, because unfortunately when you go 5 games in a row, not everyone can 100% make everything count in the game. So sometimes getting that fresh pick in, it makes a difference.
All right, now
And when your sub is Matt Millie, dude. God
Correct.
dang.
They don't
I've played
expect
with
it.
Matt Millie. He's good.
They call us the Milk Maidens for a reason, baby.
now heading into next week's games, let's talk about that. What do you guys see as being the biggest games of next week?
Oh, Pitt and SDA. Oh, show.
I would agree with that, yeah.
Who could you see taking that?
Pitt, 100%.
SDA.
Do you see it going to 5?
3-1.
3-1.
I say SDA over Pitt.
I say SDA in game 5.
Another game 5
blowout.
loss for Pitt.
Yeah, and I think
Gotta
game
even it
5's a
out.
blowout. Yep.
It's got to even it out. 50-50 on the game 5s.
I mean, game 5 or game 7 is like a new territory because like it just doesn't matter. And like you can talk about, Collegiate Rocket League, RLCS, whatever it may be. But like when there's a game 5 or game 7, everything just changes. It's no longer 3-3 because, talking about, for example, you, Fiji, how you get in your own head and how some players just get in their own head. That's where if you take that 3-3 into consideration, that's when it starts to actually get in your head. I mean, I've played in game 5, game 7 situations, and honestly, I would just imagined it as 0-0. I was like, this is a fresh start. This is just a best of 1 from here on out. I don't think of it as game 7. I'm just like, all right, it's another game, 0-0, and go from there, because the last thing you want to do in that high-pressure situation is especially get in your own head. It's a brand new ball game on that game 5 or game 7.
I agree with that because it's all becomes down to the mental too when you're going into it, because a lot of times the worst game 5 that you can do is winning the first 2 and then having the other team reverse sweep and coming back, because it's like almost like football where you get the momentum and you can feel the energy change and everything like that. It happens in this game, and I think that's why everyone loves playing it, and especially in these lower leagues, it's still. I can't tell you how many times I'll be playing it and getting the blood rushing because it's a serious game.
I mean, yeah, one goal can be a whole momentum shifter. Even if you're down, 0-2 in a series, you score first goal and you hold a lead for most of the game, massive momentum changer.
And you go into the next game ready to keep on going, keep riding the dream team.
Yeah.
Power of friendship, guys. Honestly, yeah. What do you guys think is going to be like the most boring game next week? Just going to be like, whatever.
Oh.
Probably.
Unfortunately,
MCV's got Baltimore and Seattle, so it's not like.
Where do I find the game? Where do I find the next game? I like the games.
I'm not sure
the
about that one.
schedule. Yeah.
Yeah, MCV's got the 12th and 13th seed this week. So those games should be easy games.
So much, but how are scrims going for all of you guys?
What's a scrim?
They're pretty much non-existent.
Yeah. I think we've done 2 scrims this year's season so far.
I've tried to do scrims, but I think our team's cursed in scrims to where we never play our full lineup in scrims. Like someone just backs out at the last second. So
yeah,
I thought they've been pretty nice. We used scrims, and we also used our ML team to help out, or not an ML team, our FL team to help out scrim us a lot, and that really kind of like sped us up when it came to our play style, because having to play people better than us just made us better. And then we also used Gangster or Gang, whatever that website is, and playing random people at different MMRs also helps out too.
Yeah, for sure. Now to touch on which one of you, I forgot which one of you guys plays for Utah.
me.
Fiji.
So for Fiji, I want to ask you, what was the prep heading in for Philly, man? Was it just like, whatever, we'll just hop in, or like was it more in depth? Like you guys actually, did some VOD review, scrims before the game, kind of like what was the process heading into that match?
So me and Buck played twos beforehand, and then Odd joined us like 5 minutes or 10 minutes before the game started. So we didn't really prep all that much.
Do you guys do like VOD review? Like this is like a question for everybody, but do you guys do like VOD review as a team, or is it just does it go from team to team?
Well, I got when we have game day and stuff like that, we have like a kind of a ritual that we kind of do. At least I try to get everyone to do it. A lot of times, not everyone can make them do it. But we usually do like 30 minutes of watching the team that we're gonna play. We go back and watch their game that they played last week, and just watch 3 games and see how they play. And then we go and either try to scrim someone or warm up or do rank before the game.
Hell yeah, we have a ritual too, actually. I play twos with whoever shows up early, and then we panic until the game time, and someone shows up at the last second. And that's become a ritual that we do every match.
You guys just start freaking out before the game.
And it does not help going into the matches with a good mindset at all.
It doesn't. I agree.
It worked for MCV in Utah.
All right, shut up.
I have to bring this up every time because I just find it so funny. We thought we'd rescheduled our Utah game to 9 p.m. Eastern, so we're looking for a scrim at 8. And then Fiji asks our captain, "Hey, you guys ready to play?" And he's like, "Hey guys, we're supposed to play Utah right now. We didn't reschedule to 9." So we're like, "Shit, all right, let's just hop in."
It's like, fuck the scrims.
Yeah, we just went right into that game and 3-1 Utah. And that is what makes me feel like we could definitely beat Pitt. And that it's been a constant back and forth with Pitt.
I'm still mad. I'm still mad y'all forfeited this. I'm so
Y'all
mad
should
about
just
that.
scrim. Like, y'all should scrim and see who wins. Because I feel like MCV is gonna go deep and Pittsburgh's gonna get taken out early.
If we play Pitt early, I think we're taking it all.
Well, I know we're
start tanking to 8th seed.
Well, I know we're only in the mid-season, but I will say, heading into next season, what team is like out of all the teams, what team is gonna be the first team to change their roster immediately? This kind of goes on from teams that need to make changes, but what team do you guys think is expected to make an instant roster change as soon as they can?
I think every team.
After the season? Yeah, like I think
Linguine is different every single season.
Yeah.
Last season we had how many teams did we have? 8. We had 8 teams. I think is what it was, and every team made playoffs except for one, because some idiot decided to not play their final game, and so the final team couldn't make the playoffs, and it was a season where everybody made the playoffs. So it's just different every season. So I expect every team to be different.
What was the biggest pickup of the off season? What do you guys say for teams?
Me.
Like you on what and to what team again?
MCV picking up me because I'm a Pittsburgh Phantom.
Yeah, that was some drama.
Yeah, Peyton was on my radar too. I tried to get him to show up to a tryout, but he wouldn't come.
He's like, "Fuck you."
Yeah, pretty much. I held a tryout for him because he said just hold one and I'll come. And then I was like, all right, I'm holding one at 8. And then he like messaged a couple hours later and he's like, well, I can't make it then. And I was like, fuck.
Your options are out the window. They're down the toilet at that point.
Yeah, and I had already got a late start throughout the season because Utah didn't know they were having an LL team until like a couple weeks before the season was supposed to start. So everybody kind of had their teams picked out already. So
that sucks. I didn't know it was that bad.
Yeah,
it was kind of hard for me to find my fourth.
Yeah, so without going into too much detail, because I know obviously, is there any team captains here?
Yeah, me and Millie.
Okay, so for both of you guys, without going into too much detail, are you guys trying to target anybody specifically right now? Obviously, I know you guys don't want to lay down all your cards now, but are you guys trying to target anybody in particular at all right now, or are you guys just kind of feeling it out, week by week?
For next season, or to try to do a swap out?
A mix of both, if they're, if applicable.
I don't think we can do swap outs this late in the season, can we?
It goes up to the midseason, at least from the rules I read. Yeah, last week.
Yeah, well, we have. Oh, does it go to the last week?
No, it goes to week 6. This is the final week.
So you have till the end of this week to make your final roster swaps.
No, I'm pretty sure that's.
No, week 6 was last week.
Oh shit! Okay, never mind.
Yeah, so it's too late.
Yeah, heading into next season then.
I don't have anyone in particular targeted. Like, there's no telling who's going to be in LL or anything like that next season. LL's kind of that builder league, so you never know who's going to get ranked out. Everyone's improving throughout the season and stuff like that. I know personally, like, I do full roster changes, though. I might not even be on Utah next season, so who knows? Like, I don't like playing with the same people every season.
We might be FL next season, Fiji.
Oh, yeah, probably. I'm going to try to get up there, but never know. I saw it.
Yeah, so now we're going to transition to a segment of like life of a player versus a commentator / caster. Because, I mean, hey, everybody knows I'm a caster, and then obviously you guys are all players. So what's like an average schedule, like especially for a captain? Because I know a captain has a little bit more responsibilities than the average Joe. So walk me through what it's like as an average, game week or game day per captain.
Dealing with trying to schedule everything. That is honestly the hardest thing to do.
Remembering to ask for availability.
No, it's like everything's scheduled, everything's all set. And they're like, yeah, sorry, I'm going on a vacation. It's like, what?
Yeah, the last second come ups is the hardest thing. Like,
I mean, you can't control that though, unfortunately.
Yeah. No, I know, but that's still like it's still hard to deal with as a captain, because then you have to have a backup and shit like that. You have to be prepared for it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, again, going kind of back full circle to Murphy's Law. If it can happen, it will happen.
Yeah.
For a commentator specifically, mine is, I wouldn't say as stressful as you guys, but it still goes in, because I do, commentator work for my high school, but I also do it all around. So, I mean, realistically, it goes in on game day for me. I will watch, VOD from both teams from that previous week. So that gets, tiring after a bit. Got to write down notes, and then I get all my game notes ready. So like, rosters, previous games, upcoming matches, standings, playoff hunt, keys to victory. Obviously to get my own predictions in. So on average, just to prepare for one series, I mean, it's about 3 hours to 4 hours just to prepare. And if I had more preparation heading into that Philly doubleheader versus Carolina and Utah, that would have taken more time, because I would have had to watch 2 games for Utah, 2 games for Philly, 2 games for Carolina. Would have had to do a double, so it gets stressful. And especially like when you're doing multiple casts in like a week, for example, it gets stressful because like you have to balance. Even as a player here, you still have to balance work or school, whatever it may be, personal life. Obviously being a captain, you have to deal with like the other responsibilities on top of all that, so it kind of gets up there. And as a caster, people think casters have it easy. It's just like, oh, you're just sitting there talking about the teams. But like when you want to deliver like a serious broadcast, not just like dicking around and shit, I mean, you have to put in a lot of hard work. And I've had countless times where I put in 4 hours of work for the teams, like, hey, they don't want you to cast. And it kind of goes.
It goes my whole night, yeah.
Yeah, it kind of goes into the thing of like saying like, oh hey, it's like last second availability and all that. It kind of goes into that as well, because it's like I prepared for a match for New York versus I can't remember what it was. I think it was like week 2 or it was week 3, I think. And I found out I was going to be casting from New York. They're like, oh yeah, can you cast for us? I'm like, I got you. And I put in 3 hours of work into match preparation, and then 5 minutes before kickoff they're like, hey, so actually the other team doesn't want you to cast. And I'm sitting there like,
for nothing.
Exactly. Yeah. And then it just kind of wasted. I mean, sure, did I save it as a template so I can just go back and edit all the information for different teams? Yeah, absolutely. But like when you have certain information for the teams, it's not easy, because like I do all that time watching film because when I do casting, I'm very serious with it, like an actual RLCS level or like actual ESPN level type of broadcast. So it's not just like, oh, here's like 3 notes, end of story. I put in, a lot of work and effort, and it's just like, well, it's all for nothing. But I guess that's the specialty of, LL. You never know what's going to happen, so. Just tough, man.
I agree with you. Yeah, that's the biggest thing is availability and scheduling everything too.
Because it's like one team might be absolutely fine with you casting, but then the other team might like say yes, but then change their mind. Like, actually, you know what? Never mind.
I've actually had that this season. I've had teams be mad that the other because I was just the captain sitting in, and I'd be in trying to stream it for the Discord party or the people in our Discord that want to watch it, and they'd be like, "No, we don't want to. They don't want anyone to see it." And it's like, dude, it's the owner, right? We're not gonna do anything, but it's just
yeah, exactly. So it just gets stressful balancing all that, and it's just like, because because I have to balance a lot of stuff, not only school and work. I also have to balance my sports that I play as well. So it's just like all over the place. So it's like when I have time to when I find out I'm commentating a match, I set dedicated time. I like, for me, I don't know if this is like a bad thing, but I prioritize commentary work over like homework. Don't know if that's the best thing to do, but you know what? Homework
not the best thing to do.
Homework can always be done in a study hall. Commentary work, you don't know when you're gonna you never know when you're gonna find out when you're commentating. You don't know. Like, for example, for that double header for Philly, I found out at 8:50 when kickoff was at 9:15 or 9:20, whatever it may have been. And I was like, well, he's like, sorry for the late response, but I didn't see it for a good 15 minutes because I was like doing stuff, and I have Discord noties off, so it was like whatever. I was like, okay, well, found out. I got 15 minutes to create server and get, a couple things of information. I'm just sitting there like, well, this is going to be fun. And I still delivered a great broadcast, and you guys can still watch it on the channel that this podcast is going to be up on. But, I mean, it was rough. That's like, again, availability, and like when scheduling. And honestly, I don't know. I'm trying to branch out, and I'm trying to commentate a lot of teams. So just a little little FYI to you guys. If you guys want me to cast, hit me up because I'm trying to get as many opportunities as I can get.
I'll keep
I might ask you for our Carolina game.
Okay. Now, I'd like to make sure, just so since you guys heard me rant on for 5 minutes about my problems, if you guys could let me know at least like a day in advance, that'd be great.
Not a problem.
Yeah, no problem.
Wait,
so
Utah plays Carolina?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
that'd be a good game.
Oh, it doesn't pull up on United Road. That's weird.
So what games do you guys have next week?
The last week's bugged. It only shows one game.
Well,
what?
Yeah,
how many weeks are there in total?
8.
8. So what's?
Yeah, we're currently in a bye week going into week 7.
So yeah, what are your guys' next games?
We're on a bye week right now.
All the teams.
Utah is supposed to go. Yeah. Utah is supposed to go up against Jersey and New York.
Okay, so the games won't resume until next week, which would be the 21st through 25th.
Correct.
Yeah.
So what are you guys doing as a team in the bye week? Are you guys doing anything fancy, or is it just kind of like working on your own stuff? Or are you guys still doing scrims, still doing teamwork together?
MCV needs to play Pitt this week.
I don't want to hear it from you.
Settle the beef.
Yeah, settle that.
I don't want to hear it from you. Stay on your side. You keep that over there.
The match that never was.
Keep it on your side of the pitch, buddy.
We were supposed to play in week 4, but
we won.
Two of our 4 players had last minute one had a family emergency, the other one had work. So we had to forfeit our match, and it was probably going to be the biggest game of the season.
Hyped up.
It was 1-2.
I want to commentate that. Whenever you guys face off, I'm commentating that because it's.
I'm hoping it's going to be in the finals. I'm hoping it's going to be
bitter rivalry. 2 teams at the top of the bracket. Yeah, exactly.
I think SDA
versus Pitt.
I think SDA versus Pitt would be more of a. I think that's going to be the best game of the season.
That's been the one that's been under the radar. No one's expected SDA to be where they're at, and now where they're at, they're
Why do you guys
kinda-
say? Why do you guys say that SDA isn't expected?
It wasn't that
They
it
were
wasn't.
good last season.
Yeah,
What happened
and
with
it's not
them
that they
last
weren't
season?
good.
Let's see. Let's look at their results from last season. SDA. Well, they were 6-8. So.
Mm-hmm.
D-
But
I'm still surprised with
Berkey's turned them
Jersey.
around.
Yeah, I'm surprised with Jersey. I mean, Jersey and Buffalo were up there. Didn't Buffalo move up to Yeah, didn't Buffalo move up to Fettuccine?
Yeah, I think they have a Ramen Bowl team, so they don't have a Linguine team. The teams that have a Ramen Bowl team don't have an LL team, and vice versa. LL teams don't have Ramen Bowl teams.
Why is that? Too many teams to manage?
Not enough. Yeah, no. I don't. Well, there's other teams that have. I think. Actually, no.
Isn't New York in all of them except for Ramen Bowl?
I don't know.
I'd have to check. Yeah, Ramen Bowl. Yeah, New
I know
York isn't
Pitt
in ramen.
doesn't have ramen.
Yeah, Baltimore.
Actually, yeah, we do.
That's weird. That's wild. I thought they said if they didn't have an LL team, they can't have a Ramen Bowl team. Maybe they just can only have 4 teams.
Well, it's only some of the with some of the teams can only have that. So, for example, like Pitt doesn't have a ramen team, but we gave up last season. We gave up FL, but this season we picked up the FL and then we dropped ramen. So
Yeah,
I think, and you have to trade it away to other teams for other
You're only
things.
allowed 4 teams.
Mhm.
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, because I see some teams don't only have 3 leagues. Some teams have, 3.
Well, they do it off of the population, I think, too.
Yeah.
So, like, depending on how healthy the player base is that's inside the whatever league that is. So, like, for example, last season it was only 8 Linguine teams. This season there's 16. So it's growing.
Progress is being made.
Mm-hmm.
Why isn't there any divisions in LL? Not enough.
Teams.
Yeah.
I mean, you guys could do 8 and 8.
We were talking about doing East and West, and that just never went through. But and the other teams that are 32 team franchises, they have they actually have divisions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
For
FL,
sure.
ML, and NCS have 32 teams. They have 16 for each conference.
What about ramen?
Ramen's the same thing as LL,
Gotcha.
just 16 teams.
Why? Is
and
it
it's
because
just
like not a
overall
lot of
standings.
SSLs do this?
I mean,
Not sure
yeah,
actually.
probably just not enough players, not enough high level players. I mean, once you're in SSL, I'm sure
Top 0.1%, yeah.
you're going to be either looking at for games that you can make money off of or do other things. You're not going to waste it playing a free game, free league.
Exactly. Well, we're at 58 minutes so far, and I want to carry this up to
Heyo.
an hour. So, let's wrap up with our final thoughts here for the final 2 minutes, and we'll just kind of go down the line, and I guess we'll just say our final thoughts on so far this podcast, this episode, this week. So we'll go down the line here, and we'll start with you, Fiji. What's your biggest takeaway from everything so far?
Yeah, Utah on top, dude. Hell yeah.
All right, M.
I'm not really sure, to be honest with you. Peyton, why don't you go first?
Yeah, Peyton, if you want to tell the
Pitt
viewers
sucks.
one thing to
Pitt
look out for
sucks,
next week.
And
I want to ask the
MCV
people
gonna
that
win it.
that are not good. Yeah, I was like, that's not going
MCV's
to be.
gonna win it.
Yeah, because I mean, hey, we're gonna be doing this next week, right before the next round of matches start. So I mean,
Ooh.
yeah, we're gonna be doing this like right before the week 7 slate starts. So I mean, hey, if you have to tell the viewers one thing to look out for, what do you have to say?
Pitt's coming in hot, baby.
All right, Peyton.
I hope Utah can make it into the playoffs because Fiji is cool and Pitt sucks.
All right, Fiji.
It does suck. Yeah, I honestly looking if you're looking out for anything, I'd look out who's the winner of the Utah New York match and the Utah Jersey match because they're all kind of in the same place, and whoever comes out on top from those matches, they got the best chance of making it to that 8th and 7th seed.
For sure. And for me, my biggest takeaway: watch Houston. Watch Houston next week.
Ooh,
Houston's
good
gonna be
call.
nice. They have Piggy Buggy.
Mhm.
She's got the most
And
W's
Kadoff.
right now.
And Kadoff.
What team does
Kadoffi.
Wusky play for?
Yeah.
Who?
They don't play for a team anymore. They were on Houston, but I think they had to leave. Oh,
Oh,
yeah,
Aiko
something
Wusky.
happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah. He was their captain. He got released.
I think he had,
They signed
he,
Kadoffi.
yeah, or I want to say someone had surgery. Or was that the guy
Yeah.
from Chicago?
Chicago, I
That
think.
Yeah.
Someone
No, that was
someone wasn't it some
Carolina.
yeah, because I remember in the chat, someone from Carolina Network, he was like, "Oh yeah, someone's subbing in."
I do remember that, yeah.
Well, what a wrap on episode 1. I want to obviously thank Fiji. I want to thank Em, and I also want to thank Peyton for their time. And who knows, maybe we'll get the squad back together for the for next week's episode. But yeah, make sure you guys leave, like, subscribe, I guess. Check out my main channel. Link will be in bio. My Twitch, which I do all the broadcasts on. I'll make sure to put that in the bio. And yeah, hopefully this is the start of something new. And we'll figure out what happens after the season and after playoffs. I mean, our goal is to do one weekly episode, which I think probably works for everybody here. Just to, advocate or allocate, 1 hour a week. But yeah, I will see you guys in the next one. And yeah, hopefully you guys enjoyed us yapping about, LL for a good couple hours or whatever it may have been. And yeah, I'll see you guys in the next one.